Chandamama Ramayan Part 38. Commencement of Yuddha Kanda. Upon hearing all that Hanuman had related, Rama was filled with supreme joy and exclaimed, Aha! Who else could accomplish the task performed by this Hanuman? Others could not even conceive of it in their thoughts. Crossing the ocean is a feat impossible for anyone save Garutman, Vayudev, and this Hanuman. Not stopping there, this Hanuman entered Lanka, which is inaccessible even to the celestials. Not only did he enter, but he also returned alive. There, he performed wonderful deeds such as the destruction of the Ashoka Grove, the slaying of Rakshasas, and the burning of Lanka. Hanuman has saved both Sita and me. No matter what is given to him, it shall not suffice. In return for everything, I shall embrace him, saying which he clasped Hanuman in a hug. Thereafter, Rama spoke to Sugriva, We have indeed been successful in the search for Sita, but when I contemplate that ocean, my heart sinks. How are we to reach its southern shore? Saying which he sunk into grief. Then Sugriva, looking at Rama, said, Why this sorrow? It ruins the task. If we devise a means to build a causeway across the ocean and set foot in Lanka, that Ravana is as good as dead. Without building a causeway across the ocean, conquering Lanka is impossible even for the celestials. Therefore, cast away your grief and contemplate the duty. There is no doubt that victory shall be yours. Encouraged by these words, Rama recovered and said, By performing penance, or by building a causeway, or by drying up the ocean, by some means, I shall certainly reach Lanka. I shall grieve no more regarding that matter, and then said to Hanuman, How many fortresses does Lanka have? How great is the army? How is the protection of the gates? Tell me in detail about the ramparts and other such things. Hanuman spoke in this manner, All those in Lanka are contented, there are no discontented souls there. The city is vast and possesses the fourfold forces in abundance. It has 4 great gates. At the gates, there are massive machines that hurl stones to destroy enemy armies, and there are cannons capable of killing 100 people at once. Around the city, there is an impassable rampart, around it lies a deep moat. To cross it, there are wooden bridges near the gates, they can be raised or lowered with the help of machines. If they are raised when enemies approach, crossing the moat becomes impossible. Ravana is very vigilant, even when there is no fear of enemies, he keeps his army prepared for war. It can be said that Lanka has 4 protections. One is the surrounding ocean. Since Lanka is situated high upon the Trikuta mountain, one must climb it to reach Lanka. This mountain is the second protection. The forest located there is another protection. The 4th protection consists of the moat, trenches, machines, cannons, and such. At the gates and in the center of the city, there are warrior Rakshasas numbering in the crores. However, I destroyed the bridges that crossed the moats and filled the moat, demolished the rampart, and slew many valorous Rakshasas. Therefore, it is not so difficult to bring Lanka under control now. There is no need for the rest of the army. Angada, Dvividha, Jambava, Panasa, Nala, and Nila, the commander of the forces, are sufficient. If they so desire, they can uproot Lanka and bring it along with the Rakshasas. Therefore, command Angada and the others, and having observed an auspicious moment, cause them to set forth. Rama, having heard everything, said to Hanuman, Very well, we shall certainly destroy this Lanka. He said to Sugriva, We shall set forth with the armies this very day, at this very moment. It is exactly midday. This is an auspicious moment called Abhijit Muhurt. The accomplishment of the task shall occur. Moreover, today the star is Uttara Falguni, since my birth star is Punarvasu, this is favorable to me. Furthermore, many auspicious signs are visible, therefore, let us set forth immediately. Rama instructed Nila, the commander of the Vanara forces, as to who should be in the front of the Vanara army, who should protect its flanks, which Vanara warrior should perform which task, and how to remain cautious so that enemies do not cause obstacles midway. For instance, the Rakshasas might destroy the food such as fruits found on the path where the Vanara army travels, in valleys, at river crossings, and in forests. Enemies might lie in wait and attempt to annihilate the Vanara army. Those walking ahead must take care that no such dangers occur. As soon as Sugriva commanded the departure, the Vanaras, enthusiastic for war, came leaping from caves, mountains, and trees. The Vanara army moved southward. Hanuman carried Rama and Angada carried Lakshman upon their shoulders. Innumerable Vanaras walked surrounding them, they leaped, skipped, let out lion-like roars, pushed one another, and engaged in running races. They raised slogans saying, Ravana must be killed, the Rakshasas must be killed. The greatly valorous Vanara chiefs Rishabha, Nila, and Kumuda led the way with a large force. On the way, Lakshman, instilling enthusiasm in Rama, said, Soon Ravana shall die, and Sita shall be liberated. You both shall return to Ayodhya. The atmosphere is pleasant, and the stars are favorable. A comet is touching Mula, the star of the Rakshasas. Throughout the journey, the Vanaras performed all the monkey-like antics, walking over trees and under trees, leaping, jumping, chattering, breaking tree branches, eating fruits, and drinking honey, and without halting anywhere, they crossed the Sahya and Malaya mountains and reached the seashore. Rama, along with Lakshman and Sugriva, climbed the peak of Mount Mahendra and looked at the ocean from there. Afterward, he descended the mountain and observed the ocean closely. He said to Sugriva, Now before us is only the ocean and no land. We must think of some means to cross this. The time to think of that means has arrived. For the present, let us station the armies here. No one should go far from their unit. Brave Vanaras must keep watch so that no fear of the enemy arises. Upon Sugriva's command, the Vanara army divided into 3 sections. At that time, due to the noise made by the Vanaras, even the roar of the ocean was not heard. The Vanaras were filled with great wonder upon seeing the ocean. They felt dejected thinking about how to cross this. Nila, the commander of the Vanaras, conducted the encampment according to the scriptures. The Vanara chiefs Manda and Dvividha moved on both sides as protectors of the army. As soon as the arrangements for the army's encampment were completed, Rama fell into the agony of separation from Sita and suffered for a long time. He lamented his grief to Lakshman. Meanwhile, the sun set. After Lakshman offered consolation, Rama performed the evening prayers with a troubled mind. Meanwhile, there in Lanka, Ravana, having suffered a terrible insult, spoke with his prominent Rakshasas. A mere Vanara entered Lanka, which is impregnable to enemies, slew great Rakshasa heroes, and caused turmoil by burning Lanka. He departed only after speaking with Sita. Now Rama is advancing upon us accompanied by thousands of Vanara heroes. There need be no doubt that he can cross the ocean with his brother, Sugriva and the others, and the Vanara army. He may dry up the ocean by his own power or do something else. In the event he arrives with the Vanara forces, what is the means for us to protect Lanka? Let everyone think scientifically, come to a consensus, and decide the duty. Hearing these words, the Rakshasas said, O Lord of Rakshasas, why has this anxiety arisen in you? We have an endless army. We have endless weapons such as clubs, spears, tridents, and battle axes. You are the conqueror of the 3 worlds. You conquered Kuber and the Yakshas and brought the Pushpaka. Mayasura, fearing you, gave his daughter Mandodari to you as a wife. The serpent kings such as Vasuki and Takshaka are subordinate to you. The Kalakiyas, who possess immense power and illusory strengths, fought with you for a year and finally lost. Varuna and Yam were conquered by you. What is Rama compared to them? Is Rama of any account to you who conquered all of them? Why even consider yourself? Is Indrajit not enough, who performed the Maheshwar sacrifice, received boons, fought with Devendra, bound him, and brought him to Lanka? In a moment, he can finish that Rama and the Vanara army. Do not grieve thinking of the mischief done by the Vanara Hanuman, forget that matter. They were ignorant and, moreover, knew nothing of the enemy's strength. Immediately Prahasta rose, saluted Ravana, and said, Shall we, who do not fear Devas, Danvas, Gandharvas, and Pishachas, fear monkeys? Hanuman caused mischief because we were in a state of neglect, thinking no one could conquer us, but while I live, shall he escape Lanka alive? Command me, and I shall ensure that nowhere on earth shall there be even a trace of what is called a Vanara. Leave the task of protecting Lanka to me. The insult Hanuman caused to us, and our king, is indeed unpardonable. I alone shall go and kill all those Vanaras and return, said Durmukha. Vajradamshtra, venting his anger and holding an iron make, said, What is the use of speaking of Hanuman who came like a thief in the middle of the night? I shall go and kill that Rama, who is a true hero, along with Lakshman and Sugriva. O king, I shall say another word. We can conquer the enemies by a ruse. Thousands of our Rakshasas, who can change form at will, should assume human form, go to Rama and say, Bharat has sent us, he is coming with a large army. While Rama is in that hope, we shall go from there and annihilate the entire Vanara army. Rama and Lakshman shall die of a broken heart seeing that. In the same manner, Kumbhakarna's son Nikumbha said that he alone would go and kill the Vanara army, Rama and Lakshman and return. One named Vajrahanu said he would eat all the Vanaras and return. Many more Rakshasa heroes rose and stood ready for the destruction of the enemy. Chandamama Ramayan, Part 38, is complete. For now, Swasti.